What are you left feeling? What are you left feeling about what your home is? And what's your name again, Hannah?
Yeah.
Hannah and Luis?
I think it kind of makes you feel kind of ashamed of yourself, even though...
You're a Native person, right?
Right. So it would, so it would make me feel ashamed of like Americans and the image of what Americans should be now. They coming in, taking land, supposedly Christians killing people, but being against it themselves, but they're willing to kill for the things that they want, I guess, that aren't necessarily needs but wants.
You're seeing that there's more wants than needs, and you feel ashamed, okay? How about you, Luis? Remember, you're his brother, and you just watched, your history and, some of now.
I think it's funny because one of the images that the video shows is like a scale. And
A what? A scale?
Yeah.
Yeah, the justice
And-
scale?
Yeah, and it's funny because like we start with all these images of like our people, and it almost seems as if the scale has been tipped more towards the needs of the people coming in than the people who were already here. As if the people coming in, as if their needs and their wants, because as Hannah says, it's more of a want than a need, are valued more than of those people who are already here.
Yeah, because Native people are taught you only take what you need, right? You only take what you need, but you're seeing, mass consumption happening. So let's for a moment, actually, Amin, do you want to reply? How do you feel?
I'm raged. I'm like, my heart is beating fast because a lot of people don't realize that it's still happening today. It's still happening today. And sometimes I have to control my emotions because of the work that I do. When I want to just scream out with rage. And that rage is coming from my ancestors who sat in the very same place and prayed for the future generation to still continue to be here with clean water and food for the people, and our culture still alive as human beings. So I got a lot of emotions going on right now.
Thanks for putting that out there. Hannah, you're this Native young woman. What do you want to tell the class? What do you want to tell the class about? What's something you want them to know?
I feel like in that video you saw at the end a man who was a chief, and he, for his people, represented so much and stood up for his people and respected them and wanted what was best for them, not more than they needed, but what they wanted. And the governments today and the leaders today in America don't show that. It's almost as if they don't really care about the people here and the individuals, as long as they're in power and have that power. That's all they want. And it's kind of, it makes you feel raged when you look at that. You don't feel like you're important. You don't feel like you're a person anymore, and you don't have someone to stand for you.
Yeah. You might not feel as important. You might not feel as valued in this country. And how about you, Luis? What's something you would say to the class? You're going to say, this is what I want you to know.
I think what I would say is that it comes down to the way you handle things, because even if people came here centuries ago thinking that no one was here and found out that, oops, you're wrong, like there's people who are already established here, I think things would have gone a lot better. And still, like today, they would go a lot better if things were handled with much more empathy. Because, like, we may speak differently, we may dress differently, we may approach and see life in a different way, but we still have the same needs as anyone else, as any of the people in power. Basically, we want happiness for our families and love for our children and a
It's
roof
stri-
over our heads.
It strikes me that you're actually, even though you're hurt yourself or angry yourself, you're actually still wanting to let people know that we're all human beings. That strikes me, because I'd be pissed and I'd just be all about my people, you know? So thank you for that. If there's like one or two images you could pick out from that, whether it was an image of a Native person or the kids in the boarding school, can you pick out one image that like, or gave you a different feeling that was really strong? Go ahead, Hannah.
I think, like I said before, the image read at the end, like really, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was like the empowerment in his face or how he looked, but that was a leader that you want to follow and you want to respect. And I think in this country today, there's a leader that doesn't have a lot of respect and a lot of people don't want to follow. And so looking at that, you know, like these people had pride and took pride in somebody that stood for them and stood their wants. And I think the other images that were repeated over and over again were just people laying on the ground dead for no reason, dead because of who they were, and they were at the wrong place at the wrong time, or what was deemed as the wrong place, but it was their right place, and they stood for something they cared about, and we don't get to do that anymore because we get ridiculed for it. And those people died for what they believed in, and our people died for what they believed in, and I think that's powerful to everybody.
Thanks, Hannah. How about you, Amr?
I'd like to add those images that you saw in the wintertime. The one that always hits me is Bigfoot, Chief Bigfoot, and he was laying there frozen. And that's actually a picture of where he was face down, which means that if anybody's in forensics, when you're face down, that means that you were running and you were shot in the back. So a lot of the people in the images that you saw, they were shot in the back. The children were shot in the back. When they wanted to save bullets, they stepped on babies' heads. So that time is from the ghost dance. And so after being forced to practice Christianity, and you take it up and you say, okay, yeah, I see the similarities, rather than seeing the differences right away. You see the similarities, and then saying that you're not worthy enough to be praying to Jesus Christ. So when they did the ghost dance, the cavalry was so afraid that they started shooting people in the middle of winter. Babies, kids, elders. So that's what you see frozen there. They turn them over. That's why the arms are contorted for Bigfoot. But that's what always hits me. And even times I go to sleep and I'll still picture that because I have that connection with our ancestors. So it's hard.
Luis, is there an image that you want to comment on?
I think it was a series of images. I think it showed like a valley and like a spring, and then right after they show like a brand new shopping mall. And it was just, I felt a little upset because it was a little bit of a disrespect to the environment that we have and that we've been fighting for and that we have had for thousands of years, and replacing that with something that we already have plenty of and we don't need. Like,
Clothes?
Like,
What do you mean?
yeah, like isn't like, I'm sorry to call you out on this, but isn't like New Jersey the town of malls? Like, don't you have like all around like every corner?
Or shopping centers. I also have a lot of
Like-
shopping centers in DC.
Like, you already have a bunch of malls and places to get your clothes. Like, why do you need another one?
Yeah. Why do we? Why do we need another one? I might be shopping online later, you know? But you were saying that image, seeing the shopping mall, made you feel what?
It made me feel upset just because, like, I get it. Maybe we need one or two, like, every now and then because of, like, needs, but you don't need to, like, just because it's, like, nature untouched doesn't give you the right to go in and plunder and destroy it. And just because you can. Just because you can physically doesn't mean you should.
Right, Hannah, were you gonna say something?
I just think what you said too about the images of like the gorgeous valley, like everyone probably looked at and was like, wow. And then you see the mall. I think people in America are constantly traveling, like retweeting things like, oh, this place has this, like these beautiful mountains, this, like we had that. We had that stuff too, but it's gone. Like it's gone because of killing people who were preserving those lands. And now, you know, like a beautiful landscape is taken so much for granted and we have to travel to go see it when like we had that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.